she ended up calling every one of my agents and badmouthed me and threw me under the bus. Let me just stretch it out and get ready for this.
Looking like a baddie, I show up and make them stop. Wanna know my name so badly, cause I run this whole block. Flip my hair, move my head, show the world I'm royalty. Queen, yeah. Move it, groove it. They wanna know just how I do.
Silence that inner critic. How do you move from your inner critic to your inner coach? That is the question.
So let's unpack for our audience really quick the difference between the two, because I think that's important. Your inner critic is that negative self-talk. It's things that your negative beliefs about yourself.
Being super hard on yourself. It's beating yourself up. It's telling yourself you should have done better. You're not good enough. You could have done this instead. You know, it's
the judging of yourself, the guilt, all of the
rejecting yourself.
Yes, right? And then how do you turn it into the positive, the inner coach, where you are learning from your experiences to do better and building up the positive
just
self-worth?
Basically learning, accepting feedback from yourself and just learning how to, I see myself clearly. This is what I did here. This is what I could do different next time. So I'm just going to show up and I'm going to learn from this and I'm going to do that next time.
Yeah.
It's just like being coached. It's coaching yourself through situations so that you just continue to get better at something over time.
Yes. And what do you always tell me?
Give yourself some grace.
Give yourself some grace. You give it to everybody else. Why don't you give it to yourself?
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. So we are going to share some stories and unpack our journeys and our pivotal moments where we have learned to do, we're still learning, but we have really kind of, I wouldn't say mastered, but we have become very proficient. You've probably mastered it, or the techniques. I'm getting proficient. It's not the same. We are not equal in any way, shape, or form.
Of what?
The techniques of silencing our inner critic, because we have very different ways that we do it.
Right.
And we do leverage each other in order to do it. So
100%.
Let's talk about that. Share a story with me about a time where you realizing there's an inner critic and how you dealt with it.
Oh, Shannon, that's a loaded question.
I know, it's a two-part question.
Let me just stretch it out and get ready for this.
I know. Why don't we just start with like a time when the inner critic has been like,
do I have enough tissues available?
Yeah, the dirty bitch was really alive and well.
The dirty bitch. Yes, she was alive and well. So I will share a time in which when I became a real estate agent, right? Before I became a leader in my business, I was rocking and rolling. I mean, I'm talking, real estate was the thing that helped me grow up professionally. It helped me realize what I am made of. It helped me establish the fact that I had natural qualities to do this well. Like this was a career that was fit for me.
So when you say natural qualities, had you in the past gone through a series of like trying to figure, I always call it, what do I want to be when I grow up?
1,000%. I mean, come on, I tried technology. This is why it's so funny. I mean, come on. Like literally, if I can get on a computer and just simply check my email, that's all the technology that I freaking know.
So you did technology. What else did you do?
I did technology. I did skincare. So I was like, rubbing people's faces and waxing their hoo-haws and their armpits at like these high-end spas.
Okay. What else?
I did makeup.
So you were just in different realms.
I was in different realms.
You discovered real estate.
I discovered real estate because I realized that I was ambitious. I realized that I wanted to make more, right? I wanted to do more for myself. And I wanted a career that had no ceiling. Like, I wanted to be able to make as much as I could.
Okay. So you now are in real estate. You're an
Mhm.
agent at the time.
And I realized that I was damn good at it.
Mhm.
So I became the #1 salesperson in my whole office. And I remember doing it back when in 2008, when there was devastation and destruction all around me.
Yes.
I mean, literally, the real estate market was plummeting to the bottom of the ocean, like the Titanic.
Yes. It was like 1930s again, like detrimental. Okay.
Economic just
Catastrophe,
recession.
yes.
Yes, catastrophe. And here's little old me, parachuting on the end of the Titanic, while it's sinking to the bottom of the ocean. And here I am about to start and embark on a whole new career for myself. And it was during this time that I created a lot of processes around, the art of buying and selling a home. And it wasn't just the art of buying and selling the home. What the art was how did I connect with people on such a authentic, deep level that allowed me to really provide an experience that they continued to tell more and more and more people about, which in turn helped me get tons of referral and repeat business. And ever since, I've had a very constant flow of business. Since then, I've just never had to pay for leads for myself.
Yeah.
I've never had to start over and really hustle and work with a bunch of strangers.
Yeah. So it's the bottom. Everybody else is bailing. You're thriving in this time where it kind of cleared the path of the weak, right? And so you're excelling. Go into more of inner critic.
Yeah. So, naturally, when you emerge as someone who's doing well, naturally people want to learn from you. So I took a path in which I began to coach other real estate agents that were in my office and help them duplicate the kind of success that I was having.
Okay.
Became pretty successful at that. And then eventually, over time, you think, oh, the natural progression is I'm going to go out and do this on my own.
Yes. I want my cut, the broker cut. I'm teaching people how to do it.
You're
Lower
exactly
left.
right.
Makes sense. Looks good on paper.
It did. It looked great on paper. And of course, me having that type of ambition, it was great, right? Like, it was the natural step that I was ready to take on. But the thing was, I was operating from a salesperson identity.
Okay.
And not necessarily the entrepreneur, the person who is got strong business acumen, strategies in business, and how to grow one.
You're just shooting from the hip.
I was shooting from the hip as a salesperson.
Yeah. So you mastered being a salesperson, but
I did not prepare myself for what it took to run a freaking brokerage.
Or have a mentor or a model or somebody that you could emulate. Okay. So now you have your brokerage. You've got your people.
I've got my people, and I had a really nice handful of them too.
Okay. What happened?
Well, because I didn't know much about how to hire the right person, I hired a person that I liked. I did not know how to sort for the right talent. I did not know specifically what qualities that person needed to have in order to put them in that position. Like, I didn't know what qualities that position needed to have mastered really well.
So you hired a personality, not the skill set.
I hired the personality.
How
And
did that lead to your downfall?
How was that a detriment?
Yeah.
Well, she turned out to be absolutely fucking batshit crazy, let me tell you. So I don't usually blow a gasket, but this girl, I lost absolute control. And I remember her trying to run off and control the situation, and I absolutely lost my shit. And I am over here screaming at the top of my lungs. And that did not go well with this girl. And so she ended up calling every one of my agents and badmouthed me and threw me under the bus. And one by one, these agents would call me and they would say, Cynthia, I am not happy with this. I don't want to be here. This is not what I signed up for. This is not the place that I want to be. And let me just tell you, one by one, for like 2 solid weeks, I got a call every single day with one dart in the heart, and
smear campaign going on in the background.
With a little twist too.
Okay.
I was like,
so your emotions got the best of you.
Oh God, I felt like such a fucking failure.
So now we have a bad hire. We let emotions take over.
Yes.
We've lost our agents.
Yes.
The pillars. Where does your inner critic come in? All these things happen.
Naturally, when you're getting beat down by the constant rejection, it takes a toll on you. Like your fucking heart bleeds, your ego is crushed in 1,000 pieces. You don't feel proud of yourself. You don't feel good about yourself. And then you don't believe you're good enough. And when that shit happens, like you little by little just start to have less and less faith in yourself that I can do this, I can run a successful brokerage. I can, impact people and make them successful. I can have a life of freedom. I can, you just have less and less belief and then less and less desire, to continue with the dream.
So you have this inner critic in your mind saying, you thought you could do it. You were wrong. You're not good enough. Look what you did. All these like horrible things that we all think at one time or the other, especially when the world is crashing down and you're having these moments and the worst possible scenarios are going through your head and you may be reeling a little bit. So now you're having these really
hard conversations with myself.
And the devil there just eating away
at my self-esteem. My self-esteem. That's right.
True. It is.
Oh, gosh.
That's why she's a raggedy, dirty bitch.
Right.
It is. All right. We need Princess to come out.
Yes.
All right. So now what happened? Your world has crashed down.
My world has crashed down. And so I let go of the dream, right? Like any person that's hit with traumatic experiences, they just let go of the dream. I let go of all the agents and I worked as a solo agent in my brokerage for probably almost 2 years. Then I ended up getting pregnant and Cynthia could not be out in the streets any longer. Cynthia, was working long hour days and I could not be out in the streets and I had to hire agents in order to go out and close the leads. They had to be the ones kissing baby, shaking hands. And doing all the stuff for me because I had a baby attached to my boob.
Yeah. So you have this inner critic. What did you do that made you go from the inner critic to the inner coach and saying, you can do this again?
It was very hard. It was very hard. I had to fight past a lot of fear. It was so much fear. I was so traumatized.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, I did not want to make the necessary investments in those agents. Like, I didn't at first want to systematize my operation. I wanted to give them no technology to help them do their job better. I did not want to give them any leads at first, other than, you know, my own business, and then show them how to fish on their own. I just didn't want to make any investments at first. And then I realized, okay, so I am limiting them just as much as I am limiting myself. Ooh. And that helped me wake up and realize, Cynthia, you cannot put people in the little bitty box that you are, and show them that they have to be limited.
So
right?
It sounds like you acknowledge the inner critic.
I
Instead
did.
of listening to it, the first step was like, I acknowledge, I realize what's happening. I realize how detrimental it is. Now what's next?
Move it, move it. Groove it, groove it. They wanna know